You know, sometimes love stories in Hollywood seem too perfect to be real. The cameras catch the smiles, the red carpets show the chemistry, and fans everywhere think they know the full story. But rarely does anyone really see what's happening behind closed doors. And right now, the story of Jennifer Hudson and Common is a prime example of that. A story that started with warmth, public praise, and glowing words has slowly morphed into something far more complex, messy, and, honestly, intriguing. Jennifer Hudson, in an interview, described her relationship as a happy place. She said she was very grateful, thanking God every single day, and letting Him guide this connection. God is in it, she emphasized. That's not just a casual line, it's a statement about where her heart was at that time. And when someone as accomplished and centered as Jennifer Hudson says something like that, people listen. Because in Hollywood, when you say your relationship is a happy place, it isn't just about romance, it's a declaration of balance, trust, and a level of peace that's rare, even for the most powerful stars. And yet, even in this seemingly perfect world, whispers start to circulate. Jennifer's words painted a picture of love, partnership, and alignment. Common went public, glowing, calling Jennifer one of my greatest blessings and bragging on the harmony they shared. On paper, it looked like the fairy tale pairing everyone had hoped for. And yet, there was a subtle undertone. When he spoke, some fans felt that there was almost a performance in his praise, a way of showcasing growth, success, and how he had earned such a powerful woman. It was admiration, yes, but it had that faint edge of ego that you can't quite ignore if you're paying attention. Meanwhile, Jennifer maintained her grace, keeping her personal life quieter than the flashing cameras might have wanted. She would drop small hints, like calling Common that man of mine at a film festival, but she wasn't giving speeches about love or going overboard with public declarations. There was restraint in her actions, a sign that while the relationship may have been real, she valued privacy, balance, and independence. And fans, naturally, noticed. Because in Hollywood, when someone keeps quiet while their partner publicly praises the relationship, it raises questions. Is everything truly as perfect as it seems? Or is there a side of the story being hidden? That's where the first whispers began to spread. Now, let's rewind a bit, because this story didn't just start yesterday. Common and Jennifer's paths had crossed for years. Chicago legends, both stacked with awards and industry respect, they had shared stages at charity events, linked up at music galas, and eventually co-starred in the sci-fi thriller Breathe in 2024. On set, sparks flew, so much so that colleagues reportedly joked about their undeniable chemistry. But it wasn't just professional admiration. As Common later reflected in interviews, he had struggled with what his therapist described as love addiction, the craving for that honeymoon stage feeling of being in love. He admitted he wasn't addicted to the person necessarily, but to the rush, the butterflies, the intoxicating new love high. And this dynamic added layers to every connection he formed. During early 2023, paparazzi sightings started to pick up. Jennifer and Common were spotted in Philly, Malibu, and Chicago, sometimes leaving restaurants together, sometimes arriving at music events. TMZ and other outlets tried to frame them as just friends, but anyone paying attention could see the underlying tension. Fans, as always, weren't buying the cover story. The internet buzzed with speculation, dissecting every Instagram post, every side glance, every small smile captured in photos. By July 2024, Common decided to go public with his feelings on the Mama I Made It podcast. He praised the relationship, calling it one of the greatest blessings of his life. He spoke about partnership alignment and being equally yoked with Jennifer. But fans and media pundits picked up a subtle nuance in his tone. While he framed it as romantic, some interpreted it as self-congratulatory, a way of highlighting his personal growth rather than celebrating Jennifer fully. Meanwhile, Jennifer, staying quietly focused on her talk show and music projects, wasn't performing for the cameras. She gave glimpses of affection but never overexposed herself, leaving a sense that she valued her own autonomy just as much as the relationship itself. And this is where things start to get interesting. There were rumors of a new man in Jennifer's orbit. Some sources hinted that Common might have been in the dark about certain things. Others suggested he might have found out in the worst possible way. Either scenario added suspense, tension, and a layer of drama that fans couldn't resist dissecting. Hollywood thrives on stories like this, stories of pride, ego, and love turning into a quiet power struggle. Because here's the thing about Hollywood relationships: image is everything. Jennifer isn't just a singer. She's an EGOT winner, a daytime talk show host, and a brand unto herself. Every move is scrutinized, by fans, by sponsors, by media. Common, too, has built a career on image, words, and public perception. And when two powerhouses collide romantically, it's not just about the heart, it's about how their every action can ripple through careers, brands, and public opinion. So, while the world saw smiles, glowing interviews, and perfectly curated appearances, behind the curtain, there were subtle signals. A focus on career over romance, a slight coolness in certain interactions, whispers that something wasn't adding up. All these small clues were hints that the happy place might not be as idyllic as it seemed. And it's this tension, this delicate balance between public admiration and private reality, that sets the stage for everything that's about to unfold. Hollywood relationships are rarely as simple as they seem. The glittering lights, the glamorous events, the red carpet smiles, fans only see the surface. But beneath it all lies a complex dance of emotions, ambition, and timing. For Jennifer Hudson and Common, this dance began long before the public even knew what was happening. Common, as he later reflected, struggled with what his therapist called love addiction. This wasn't a casual confession, it was a deep insight into why he approached relationships the way he did. He admitted he wasn't addicted to the person themselves, but to the intense feeling of being in love, that intoxicating honeymoon phase that gives you butterflies, adrenaline, and that rush only new love can bring. On set for the sci-fi thriller Breathe, this dynamic became clear. Sparks flew between him and Jennifer, and colleagues couldn't ignore it. Even the director reportedly had to remind them to focus on their lines, not just each other. But love in Hollywood doesn't exist in a vacuum. Both Common and Jennifer are career powerhouses. By the time they started co-starring in Breathe, both were juggling multiple projects. Common, with his music, acting, and entrepreneurial ventures, was already stretched thin. Jennifer, with her music, hosting duties, and family commitments, had an equally demanding schedule. And that's where the tension began. Love had to compete with ambition. Common himself admitted that while the love didn't disappear, the energy to nurture the relationship wasn't always there. "We both care about our crafts," he said in interviews, "and about partnership, but when your schedule doesn't allow for consistency, it's hard to keep feeding a relationship." And in Hollywood, that inconsistency doesn't go unnoticed. Fans may see two people together at an event and think everything is perfect, but relationships live in the small, private moments, the calls, the texts, the quality time that can't be captured on camera. Early 2023 brought a new layer of scrutiny. Paparazzi sightings in Philadelphia, Malibu, and Chicago began stacking up. Jennifer and Common were photographed leaving restaurants together, walking on the beach, even exiting small private parties. TMZ and gossip outlets tried to frame these encounters as just friends, but the internet never buys casual cover stories. Social media exploded with speculation. Fans dissected every look, every laugh, every subtle gesture. Was she looking at him differently than he looked at her? Did he seem distant? Did her hand linger too long on his shoulder, or just brush it? To an outsider, these might seem like small details, but for a celebrity relationship, perception is reality. Behind the scenes, Jennifer's approach contrasted sharply with Common's. While he occasionally went public, glowing on podcasts and interviews, Jennifer kept her personal feelings quiet. Her words were measured, often subtle hints rather than declarations. At the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival, she called him "that man of mine," but that was it, a tiny acknowledgement, just enough to satisfy curiosity without fully exposing herself. In public, she maintained control, her image polished, her reputation intact. And this contrast wasn't lost on fans. Common's words, while loving on the surface, sometimes carried the undertone of self-congratulation. Jennifer's restraint made it clear, she was not here to perform for the cameras. She valued privacy over public spectacle, control over chaos. And in the world of Hollywood romance, that alone can create tension. One partner thrives in the spotlight, the other prefers shadows. One flexes growth, the other preserves dignity. That imbalance is subtle but potent, like the first rumble before a storm. Meanwhile, the chemistry on set only added fuel to the fire. Breathe wasn't just another paycheck for either of them, it became a playground for flirtation, tension, and connection. Sources on set reportedly noticed lingering touches, prolonged eye contact, and moments that felt unscripted. The lines between fiction and reality blurred. And as the paparazzi started noticing them outside the studio, fans began piecing together the narrative themselves. But here's the nuance, while sparks were flying, both were acutely aware of the stakes. Jennifer had spent years crafting a career and reputation that few could touch. She wasn't just a singer, she was an EGOT winner, a talk show host, a respected public figure. Her love life was inherently tied to her brand. Common, too, had built a carefully curated public persona. And when two people of this caliber start dating, every smile, every photo, every public appearance is a headline waiting to happen. In interviews, Common acknowledged that their professional ambitions often clashed with personal time. He admitted that neither of them could pause their careers just to feed a relationship. We care about love, yes, but we also care about the work, the craft, and continuing to grow, he explained. That honesty painted a realistic picture. Love in Hollywood isn't just about feelings, it's about logistics, priorities, and timing. And timing, as fans know, is everything. By mid-2023, sightings became more frequent, rumors began circulating, and fan theories started dominating social media. Some suggested a love triangle, others hinted at jealousy, and some believed there was a secret third party. Gossip blogs thrived on speculation. Yet amidst all this noise, Jennifer remained focused. She worked, she hosted, she created music, and she let the story unfold around her without reacting publicly. That quiet confidence contrasted sharply with Common's more visible approach. He went on the Mama I Made It podcast in July 2024, calling the relationship one of the greatest blessings of his life. He spoke about alignment, being equally yoked, and the joy of finding someone who complements you perfectly. On paper, it sounded romantic. But some fans noticed a subtle undercurrent. His tone occasionally seemed self-focused, as though he was framing the relationship as proof of his own growth, rather than celebrating Jennifer fully. Relationship as proof of his own growth, rather than celebrating Jennifer fully. Meanwhile, Jennifer continued her subtle strategy, careful, measured, strategic. She wasn't performing for the press. She wasn't trying to outshine or outpraise anyone. She was simply living her life, keeping control of her image, and letting her actions speak louder than any headline ever could. We see the push and pull of career versus love, the subtle tension between public praise and private restraint, and the early whispers that hint at drama to come. Fans begin to question, is the relationship truly stable, or is the public image masking cracks that only insiders see? And as paparazzi sightings, podcasts, and subtle public gestures pile up, the narrative becomes irresistible. Hollywood thrives on stories like this, the stories that unfold slowly, with small hints building suspense, until one day, everything explodes. And as viewers, we can't help but wonder, if two powerhouse individuals with extraordinary careers can't fully sync their schedules and priorities, what happens when more drama hits? What happens when ego, ambition, and external temptation enter the picture? The answers are coming, but not yet. Right now, Part 2 leaves us with a tantalizing mix of romance, ambition, and quiet tension, a simmering setup that promises more drama, scandal, and revelation in the next chapters. Hollywood is a world of appearances, And few things are as scrutinized as celebrity relationships. Every smile, every handhold, every public declaration is analyzed, dissected, and often twisted into narratives far beyond reality. For Jennifer Hudson and Common, this scrutiny intensified as their relationship became more visible, but the contrast between their public personas and private realities began to emerge in ways that would set the stage for scandal. By mid-2024, Common was glowing in interviews, on podcasts, in magazine features, and in casual conversations caught by paparazzi. He repeatedly praised Jennifer, calling their connection one of the greatest blessings of his life. He spoke about alignment, partnership, and being equally yoked, painting a picture of two successful, talented individuals moving together in perfect harmony. On the surface, it was a romantic declaration, something fans had been waiting to hear. But here's where perceptions started to shift. While Common's words were affectionate, some listeners sensed a subtle undertone, a hint of self-congratulation. The praise, though loving, sometimes sounded as if he was highlighting his own personal growth, suggesting that he had earned someone like Jennifer Hudson. It was admiration, yes, but wrapped in a layer of ego, a silent reminder of his success and desirability. Jennifer, on the other hand, operated differently. Her approach was quiet, calculated, and measured. She didn't give long interviews about love. She didn't post excessive declarations on social media. She worked. She hosted. She sang. And in rare moments, she offered small glimpses of affection, a "that man of mine" here, a supportive nod there, but always with control and restraint. She was not performing for the cameras, and that contrast to Common's public exuberance became increasingly noticeable. Fans, as always, picked up on the difference. Social media buzzed with speculation. Was Common's openness a sign of confidence or insecurity? Was Jennifer's restraint a mark of strength, or a signal that she was quietly unhappy? These nuances, often invisible to casual observers, were magnified in the court of public opinion. Every podcast, every magazine article, every Instagram story became evidence for fan detectives trying to piece together the true state of their romance. The tension was subtle but real. While the world saw smiles and red carpet chemistry, the private moments painted a more complicated picture. Sources close to the couple noted that Jennifer was increasingly protective of her personal space. She valued privacy in ways that sometimes clashed with Common's more public approach. He wanted to celebrate the relationship openly, she wanted to maintain control over her narrative. In Hollywood, this difference in strategy is more than personality, it's a potential catalyst for conflict. And then there were the rumors. Subtle hints began circulating that something behind the scenes wasn't quite right. Whispers suggested that Jennifer might already be exploring new connections, and some speculated that Common was either unaware or had only just begun to catch on. These early murmurs didn't explode into headlines yet, but they planted seeds of doubt and curiosity, both among fans and within the couple themselves. Meanwhile, the professional stakes added pressure. Jennifer wasn't just any celebrity, she was an EGOT winner with her own talk show and a carefully curated brand. Every relationship misstep could have repercussions beyond the heart. Potential endorsements, TV appearances, and the trust of sponsors could all be impacted by how her personal life played out publicly. Common, too, had a brand to protect, but his approach seemed more reactive, less controlled. That difference in strategy subtly amplified the tension. On set, their chemistry remained undeniable. During the filming of Breathe, colleagues and crew members noted prolonged glances, unspoken communication, and moments of flirtation that seemed to blur the line between professional performance and personal desire. Sparks flew, and everyone could sense it, but the subtle power dynamics beneath those sparks added complexity. Jennifer, while present in the chemistry, often exercised caution. She knew the line between romance and public perception was thin, and she was determined not to let her personal brand be compromised. This careful balancing act extended to social media. Common occasionally posted photos and hints of their relationship, celebrating milestones or shared experiences. Jennifer, however, kept a lower profile. Her posts were polished, professional, and often devoid of overt romantic cues. This discrepancy wasn't lost on fans, who began reading between the lines, looking for clues about whether the relationship was truly harmonious. The first real foreshadowing of a potential breaking point came through small incidents that seemed inconsequential at the time but would later gain significance. A missed red carpet appearance, a delayed response to a private message, or a subtle change in tone during an interview, all became pieces of the puzzle. Fans began theorizing: was Jennifer pulling away? Was Common trying too hard to publicly affirm something that was weakening privately? The tension was growing, and the cracks in the public narrative were starting to show. By now, the story had all the elements of a classic Hollywood drama: chemistry, fame, ambition, public praise, private tension, and subtle hints of betrayal. And yet, it was still simmering quietly. Nothing had exploded into the public eye, but the pressure was building. Every interaction, every appearance, every word spoken in interviews or on podcasts became a potential clue. Fans and media alike started treating each detail as evidence, dissecting body language, tone, and timing in a way that would make any private moment feel like a public trial. Also sets the stage for what would later become the most dramatic chapter: the night that flipped everything upside down. While the public narrative remained one of harmony and admiration, the private reality was more complex. Jennifer's desire for control and privacy contrasted with Common's openness, and the difference in approach began creating subtle friction. This isn't the dramatic reveal yet, but it's the quiet build-up, the tension that makes the eventual fallout both shocking and inevitable. In Hollywood, relationships are rarely just about love. They're about timing, strategy, public perception, and power. Highlights this perfectly, showing how two incredibly talented, high-profile individuals navigated both the pressure of public expectation and the nuances of private connection. The admiration was real, but the subtle cracks, the tension between performance and privacy, between ego and strategy, were quietly shaping the trajectory of their story. As viewers, we're left watching the delicate balance. The chemistry is undeniable, the words are glowing, but the tension is palpable. And in Hollywood, we know from countless stories that it's often the small, quiet moments, the missed texts, the delayed calls, the subtle gestures, that foreshadow the biggest public revelations. Ends with that sense of anticipation. We're seeing the public narrative, the private tension, and the first signs of a storm brewing. And as fans, we can't help but ask, how long before the perfect public image cracks? How long before ambition, ego, and subtle miscommunication collide? And more importantly, who will emerge looking unbothered, and who will be caught in the fallout? Every love story has a turning point, the moment when the narrative shifts, when the illusion of perfection fractures, and the world suddenly sees a side of the story that was carefully hidden. For Jennifer Hudson and Common, that night arrived quietly at first, like a ripple, and then exploded into the kind of Hollywood gossip that dominates headlines for weeks. It happened right after the Grammy buzz had cooled off. A lavish post-awards party was taking place in Los Angeles at Delilah's, an exclusive hotspot where A-list celebrities mingle behind velvet ropes and hidden cameras. On the surface, it was a celebration, a night of champagne, music, and industry glamour. But for Common, it would become the setting of one of the most scrutinized moments of his career. According to insiders, Common arrived looking effortlessly smooth, the charm and charisma that fans knew so well radiating from him. He was in a corner booth with a tall model-type woman, cozying up, whispering, laughing, his arm draped casually around her shoulders. The scene, though intimate, wasn't hidden. To anyone paying attention, it was clear that this wasn't a casual gesture. This was comfort, familiarity, and, dare we say, a subtle declaration of possession. The energy between them suggested that this connection wasn't merely superficial, it was deliberate, and it was being played out in plain view. But here's the twist: Jennifer Hudson wasn't there to witness it personally. Instead, like the rest of the world, she learned of it through whispers, leaks, and the inevitable viral posts that followed. Imagine seeing the love you thought was secure splashed across gossip blogs, Instagram feeds, and fan forums, every glance, every laugh, every touch magnified and analyzed. For Jennifer, it wasn't just about betrayal, it was public humiliation. This wasn't a private misstep that could be patched behind closed doors, it was a spectacle, and her name was now intertwined with scandal. Jennifer had spent years carefully managing her public image. Since her split from WWE star David Otunga, she had kept her love life under wraps, guarding her privacy fiercely. She wasn't just protecting her heart, she was protecting a brand. An EGOT winner, daytime talk show host, and respected figure in the entertainment industry, Jennifer's every move carried professional weight. Sponsors, networks, advertisers, they all watched, waiting for the next headline. And suddenly, her name was linked to a scandal that threatened more than just personal feelings. Insiders suggest that Jennifer didn't react impulsively. She didn't storm in, confront Common publicly, or create a scene on social media. Instead, she iced him out privately, carefully monitoring how the narrative unfolded while maintaining her public composure. In subtle ways, she sent signals, small public jabs, a measured presence at events, quiet but unmistakable messages that she was aware and unbothered by the chaos around her.